guys, Squdge here. Welcome back to another Squdge craft video. It's Friday, which means resin day. A few weeks ago, I did this video where we dried the flowers from a wedding bouquet, and today we are going to start setting them in resin. Now, this is going to be a bit of a lengthy process for several reasons. First off being, I'm using a slower curing resin, which means this resin will cure not over 24 hours, but over 72 hours per layer. So it's going to be a lengthy process. We're also using quite a large mould for some. So we're going to do 2 candle holders. So I have these 2 here, which will hold a tea light. And I do also have a little extra, something that I'm going to be doing for her as well. And she wants 3 paperweights, ornament styles. So we're going to do this large cube, we're going to do the large dome, well, sphere really, it's a full sphere. Sorry, let's get that bit of dust out, there we go. Large sphere, so what we'll do is we will put in, for this one, a base layer, put our flower in, secure this together, like so. Use some hot glue to cure the edge, and then we can fill up from the top. And then I'm torn between using this heart, which is like a diamond shape, which is really beautiful for so one flower, a smaller sphere, which again is nice for one flower, or I do have a large heart. The unfortunate problem with the large heart is it is matte, and I don't really want to do a matte mould for a wedding bouquet. So we're unsure. We're definitely going to use these ones, and then I'm not sure which third one we're going to use. So I will be using Resin 8 slow cure resin because it is wonderful. The bubbles are basically non-existent. It is beautiful. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop these moulds off to the side for now. I'm going to pop all my PPE on, my gloves, my goggles, my respirator. I'm going to mix up a batch of the slow cure, and what we're going to do is we're just going to put a layer in the bottom of each mould. So for these ones it will end up being the top, so we've got a nice smooth top. Same for this one if we use it, and then for the cube and possibly this heart if we use it, it will be the base. And then once we've given that, say, a few hours to start gelling, not curing, just gelling, remember it's a slow cure resin, we can add the flowers in and position them, and then when that layer cures, those flowers are secure in that location. So that is what we're going to work on today. We're just going to do a very quick layer. As per usual, I'll put this one on speed up and do a voiceover for you, and then I'll come back to you at the end and we'll have a look as we demould the pieces. So this is how we finish off that process. Done the drying, now we're going to mould them. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so first again it's very important to wear the correct PPE. As you can see, I am wearing nitrile gloves, not latex, my respirator and my eye goggles. Here's a quick pic of me dressed up with my apron on as well. So this is the Resin 8 slow cure, and I've kept this in because you can see how quickly this goes from having all those cloudy striations in to being so clear. I love working with this stuff. It is frustrating because it's slower curing, so you do have to wait a bit longer, but this stuff is so lovely to work with. So this is the Resin 8 slow cure, the casting resin, and it's a dream to work with. I absolutely love working with it. So smooth, so bubble free, so clear, it's like water. So I'm just putting a very thin layer into the moulds. As you can see, I did choose that red round mould as my third mould. Hello, kitten. And then we're going to give this a burst with a heat gun and leave them to cure. Okay, so I've selected some greenery and then a few of the flowers and petals that I think will work with each mould, possibly. I haven't selected anything for our little one yet. And then for our tea light holders, we've just got some petals and smaller flowers. And this is the nice thing about being able to have things like the hydrangea, for example, you can take individual flowers off to use them. So yeah, we're going to be working face up in these two moulds and in this mould, and face down for these two. Okay, so I've mixed up my resin and I'm putting just a little bit more in each mould. So that bottom layer is tacky and then the second layer is now liquid. So I'm just going to go through, ensure there's no bubbles, there's nothing around the edges, especially in the corners of the square mould, around the centre points of the candle holder mould. Just with a little metal stick, just to get out any bubbles or any dust that's happened to find its way in, because it always does. Always check. Okay, then I'm going to start just arranging things in. So these leaves, as I'm pushing them down, they are starting to tack onto that base layer. And what this is going to allow me to do is have some things very stuck on the bottom and some things that are going to submerge in the current thin layer. Now I did arrange this, and then I changed my mind and rearranged it, so you'll see that in a second. But originally I was going to put these florals on top of the leaves, one in each corner. Then what I did was I arranged the rose on top and changed my mind because I didn't like the way it looked, and that's okay to do. I have planned this out, I have drawings of it, but once you actually do it in person, sometimes it doesn't look right, and that's okay. So I checked the rose and I thought, no, I don't like this layout. So I just removed the flowers that I'd put in, slightly rearranged the ones I left in there, rearranged the leaves, pushed them down again, and then carried on. And this time I added a thistle in and this other flower, which is a bit like a cornflower, but it's not a cornflower. It's like a cross between a cornflower and a thistle. It's really beautiful. Then for the red mould, after I put the 3 leaves in, I positioned the rose in. So in the square mould, I'm building up below the rose. In this circular mould, I'm building round the rose. For the candle holders, I've just put in some of the single flower of the hydrangea, some of the smaller flowers, and then I'm going to be adding some petals. With the petals, you need to be aware of where the front and back of the petal is going to show on a mould. So I have arranged them so that they are curved to match the mould, and you will see the nice colour as you go. And then for our dome mould, I do apologise, it focused on my head for a little bit. I do move my head out of the way in a second. I started off with some hydrangea around one edge, just to give it a nice look. So I did say I was working face up with this mould. I'm not, we're working face down. But I'm not putting this rose directly facing up like it will be in the round and the square mould. I am angling this rose to the side, which will just give that sphere a really nice feel to it, rather than everything just sticking bolt upright. And then it's time to cover them. As you will see, I did use a spatula to help me hold the thistle in place because it wanted to rock. Then we're going to cure these until the next layer. Okay, next layer. First, I'm going to use some of this No Wipe top coat. So this is a UV resin, and I'm just going to put some on the back of this rose, and all this is going to do is help me position this flower where I want it. I don't want this to fall off or to look at a weird angle, so I'm just going to use this to just stick it, very gently stick it to where I want it so it doesn't fall off. And now that that's in position, I can position these other flowers around it, so that's really useful. So I'm just going to do a few more flowers in and around things in a next layer of resin. Okay, you will notice in the square mould I have popped something in the middle of the rose just to try and round that out while the resin cured. So we're going to secure the top of our sphere mould, And using hot glue, we are just going to seal that join, and all that does is you're not really going to get any leakage if you've got a good mould anyway, but it's just an extra layer of defence to make sure that all your resin doesn't pour out of the sides once you start filling it up. So just going to secure the whole edge with the hot glue. Leave that to cool completely, and you want to use hot melt hot glue, not the cold melt, because otherwise the heat of the resin may affect it. Once that is done, we can do another layer. So I'm just going to top up the next layer on most things. For the sphere, where it's got the small hole, I don't have a funnel that works properly, so I'm just pouring some resin into this smaller cup so that I can pour it through that hole, and all that does is avoid mess and avoid bubbles. Then, once I have filled up my moulds to where I'm happy, I am going to add some mica powder to this, some white pearl mica powder, and that is going to be the base of our candle holders. So that's going on there, and then we're going to leave everything to cure. Hey guys, we are back to demould these pictures. If you have enjoyed this series, I'll link the first video up here where we dried the flowers. Then please give this video a big thumbs up and consider subscribing. You guys are absolutely amazing. Right, let's demould these. I'm so excited. So, let's start small. So we have 2 candle holders. Now, I also did a little extra one. With resin and candles, heat resistant resin will resist heat up to a certain temperature, but it is always better to use fake candles because you don't want to risk anything happening with the resin. So here is the little added extra that I made for her, which will hold more of a taper candle look. So I've just got some of the smaller flowers and leaves in that one. Okay, then we've got these two which have the white base. Oh, I'm loving this mould. It is matte though, which is interesting. So we're going to need to give this a bit of a polish. But you can see we've got the blue hydrangea, we've got a rose petal in there, we've got some of the leaves. That is gorgeous. And the next one. So we've got some of the bride's favourite flowers. We've got the blue hydrangea again. Oh, stunning. Okay, let's move on to bigger pieces. Let's start off with the tricky one. So let's look at our sphere. So I'm going to remove the hot glue. And all the hot glue did was seal that join so that we didn't lose any resin out of it. Some moulds will seal well enough that nothing is going to come out anyway, but I will always put hot glue just to make sure, really. Okay, so let's pop this out. There we go. And we'll remove this section. Oh, that is looking absolutely beautiful. Right, let's pop this bottom half. And this will need a little bit of a tidy up, because there is always a seam with a 2-piece sphere mould. There we go, so we've got the blue hydrangea around here, and then we've got our stunning rose. I really hope you guys can see. I just love that depth. Love that depth. It's so pretty. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, then we have our sphere piece, no, not sphere, a circular oval piece, which has a rose in the middle and again some lovely blue hydrangea. So this just needs a top coat on. Again, that rose is so beautiful. Love it, absolutely love it. And there's the base. And then last but not least, we have our cube. You can see the top of the rose in the mould in this one. And so all we're going to do is pop the mould. Now these will just need a bit of a top coat to ensure we've got no sharp edges or anything like that. There we go. Pull that down. So now we've got, you can see we've got some flowers around the sides. We've got the thistle in there. Got some hydrangea, and there it is at the top. Oh, I love these. I absolutely love these. So, what's going to happen next? I'm going to just sand any edges that need it and put a very small doming layer on top of these two. This one I just need to sort out this flashing round the centre. We'll cut that off. We'll make sure that it is nice and smooth in the centre. And then these guys, I'm going to try my new polishing complex to see if we can get the shine of this back up. Because it doesn't need sanding, it just needs a polish. Obviously, if I had a machine, it would be a lot quicker than polishing by hand. But it can still be done. Okay. So I am going to do the finishing, the polishing in another video, a part 3. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and consider subscribing. Keep crafting, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!